First contact and betrayal. Captain Maya Chen stood before the massive viewport of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon, her silhouette stark against the brilliant starscape beyond. The mission was simple: push humanity's understanding of deep space, establish new outposts, and, if the theoretical physicists were right, test the experimental quantum communications array that might allow instant messaging across vast distances. "Captain, we're picking up something unusual," Lieutenant Arjun Patel called from his sensor station. "It doesn't match any known signature in our database." Maya crossed the bridge with measured steps, leaning over his console. The readings made no sense. Energy patterns that shouldn't exist according to their understanding of physics. "Location? Approaching from the dark side of Titan, ma'am. It's massive." The bridge fell silent as the object emerged from behind Saturn's largest moon. It was beautiful in a terrifying way. A vessel that dwarfed their own by at least 20 times, its hull shimmering with an iridescent material unlike any alloy humanity had developed. Geometric patterns pulsed along its surface, emitting soft, blue light. "Battle stations," Maya ordered calmly. "Captain?" questioned her XO, Commander David Reyes. "We're an exploration vessel. Our weapon systems are minimal at best. And we're about to have first contact with an advanced alien species, Commander. I'd rather be cautious than dead." She straightened, her uniform. "Open all communication channels, standard greeting protocol." Before Reyes could relay the order, every screen on the bridge illuminated with the same image: a humanoid figure with silvery skin and eyes that resembled liquid mercury. Its features were almost elegant, with no visible mouth, communicating instead through what seemed to be telepathic translation directly to their computer systems. "We are the Vespari Empire. Your primitive vessel has been detected in territory, now under Imperial protection. You will stand down and prepare for inspection." Maya fought to keep her expression neutral. "I am Captain Maya Chen of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come in peace from a planet called Earth. We were unaware this region was claimed by any civilization." The alien's head tilted slightly. "Earth, uncharted, species unknown. Prepare for biological and technological assessment." "With respect," Maya replied. "We would prefer to arrange a formal diplomatic meeting. Our people have protocols for first contact scenarios." There was a long pause before the alien responded. "Acceptable. Prepare your delegation." 24 hours later, Maya led a small team aboard a shuttle heading toward the massive Vespari vessel, which they now knew was called the Dominion. Accompanying her were Dr. Sophia Kim, the ship's xenobiologist, Lieutenant Commander Jackson Wu, their security chief, and Dr. Elijah Ward, their quantum physics specialist. "Remember," Maya briefed them as they approached the alien ship, "we represent all of humanity. No aggressive movements, no assumptions. We observe, we learn, we establish peaceful relations if possible." The Dominion's shuttle bay was a cathedral of technology. As they disembarked, they were met by 3 Vespari, each standing over 7 feet tall. Their bodies seemed to shimmer between solid and liquid states, with intricate patterns shifting beneath their silvery skin. "Welcome," came the telepathic voice directly into their minds. "I am Exarch Vexnar, representative of Emperor Zarketh. You will follow." The interior of the Vespari ship defied human understanding. Corridors seemed to form ahead of them and dissolve behind them. Gravity shifted subtly as they walked, accommodating their human physiology. Surfaces that appeared solid would occasionally ripple like water. Dr. Ward couldn't help but run his specialized scanner along the walls, his eyes widening at the readings. "This technology," he whispered to Maya, "it's not just advanced, it's operating on quantum principles we've only theorized about." The diplomatic chamber was a vast dome, with what appeared to be a real-time holographic display of the surrounding solar system overhead. 7 more Vespari awaited them, arranged in a semicircle. At the center stood one adorned with complex geometric patterns that seemed to float above its skin. "I am Supreme Exarch Tevrin," You are the first new species we have encountered in 14 stellar cycles. Tell us of Earth. For hours, Maya and her team engaged in careful diplomacy. They shared basic information about human civilization, their history, their level of technology, their values. In return, the Vespari revealed their empire spanned hundreds of star systems and included 17 subject species who lived under their benevolent guidance. And these other species, Dr. Kim ventured carefully, they joined your empire willingly. Ripple passed through the assembled Vespari that Maya interpreted as amusement. They were enlightened to the benefits of imperial membership. Some required more convincing than others. All now prosper under our rule. By the third day of negotiations, Maya had been granted limited access to the Vespari database. The information exchange seemed generous. The aliens offered technological insights that could advance human engineering by decades. In return, they requested only cultural data and permission to send a diplomatic vessel to Earth. But something felt wrong. They're too generous, Maya confided to her team during a private moment back on their shuttle. Advanced civilizations don't just hand over technological secrets to species they've just met. I've noticed discrepancies in their translation matrix, Dr. Kim added. When they speak of partnership, their actual thought patterns suggest something closer to acquisition. When they mention cultural exchange, the underlying intent reads more like assessment. Lieutenant Commander Wu had been quiet throughout the meeting, but now he spoke. Their security systems aren't designed for defense. They're designed for containment. Every room we've been in has had some form of energy barrier that could be activated remotely. Dr. Ward looked up from his datapad. And they've been particularly interested in our quantum communications prototype. They've scanned it multiple times when they thought I wasn't paying attention. Maya made her decision. We're leaving tonight. Prepare the shuttle quietly. That evening, as Maya was reviewing the day's diplomatic recordings in her temporary quarters aboard the Dominion, she discovered something their translators had missed. A background conversation between two Vespari technicians, barely audible. Suitable for labor in the methane mines of Proxima III, physiological resilience impressive, might survive longer than the Arcturians. Preliminary invasion force already dispatched to their outpost on the 6th planet's moon. Maya's blood ran cold. The Europa Research Station, 300 scientists and engineers establishing humanity's furthest permanent presence in the solar system. When she tried to contact the horizon, all communications were blocked. When she attempted to leave her quarters, she found the door sealed. The Vespari had realized she'd overheard them. What happened next would later be described in human history books as the Chen maneuver. Using her limited understanding of Vespari technology gained over the past days, Maya overloaded the room's environmental controls, creating a power surge that temporarily disrupted the door's locking mechanism. She fought her way to the shuttle, Bay managing to send an emergency alert to her team en route. As alarms blared throughout the massive alien vessel, the human shuttle launched with all 4 delegation members aboard. Lieutenant Commander Wu piloted manually, executing evasive maneuvers as Vespari weapon systems came online. They're targeting our engines, he reported grimly. They don't want to destroy us, they want to capture us. Can we make it back to the horizon? Maya asked. Negative. Their ships are moving to intercept. Our only option is to use Saturn's rings for cover and try to reach the quantum relay buoy we deployed yesterday. Dr. Ward worked frantically at the communications console. If I can connect to the buoy, we might be able to send a warning to Earth, but I need time. You'll have it, Wu promised, diving the shuttle into the debris field of Saturn's rings. What followed was a desperate chase through ice particles and rocky fragments. The massive Vespari ship couldn't follow, but it deployed smaller craft that pursued relentlessly. Wu's expert piloting kept them alive, but their shuttle sustained heavy damage. 30 seconds to buoy range, Dr. Kim called out. Their reinforcements are closing in from the port side, Wu warned. We won't make it. Maya made another decision that would later be studied in Earth's military academies. Vent our oxygen reserves through the rear thrusters. Captain, that's our life support. Do it now. We have emergency breathers for 15 minutes, that's all we need. The released oxygen ignited as it passed through the damaged engines, creating an unexpected propulsion burst that rocketed them toward the communications. Boy. It also generated a debris cloud that temporarily blinded the Vespari pursuer's sensors. Buoy in range, Dr. Ward announced. Transmitting now. The quantum communications device had been experimental, designed to test instantaneous communication across the solar system. It had never been tested at this distance. But as the Vespari ships closed in, the team watched the transmission indicator flash from red to green. Message sent, Dr. Ward confirmed. Whether anyone receives it, they never got to finish the journey to the horizon. Their shuttle was captured by a Vespari tractor beam minutes later. As they were dragged toward the alien vessel, Maya looked at her team. Earth knows, she said simply. Whatever happens to us now, Earth knows they're coming. Back on Earth, General Amara Singh was awakened at 0300 hours by an urgent call from the Quantum Communications Center in Nevada. General, we've received an emergency transmission from Captain Chen's mission, the officer reported. It's a single data packet heavily compressed. It contains technical specifications of Vespari ships, weapons capabilities, and a warning. They've already attacked Europa Station. An invasion fleet is inbound. Singh was fully awake now. Verification? Confirmed by deep space telescopes. Ma'am, Europa Station went dark 40 minutes ago. Multiple large objects are accelerating toward Earth from Saturn's position. General Singh stared at the holographic display showing the approaching Vespari fleet. Humanity had never faced an extraterrestrial threat. Their military was designed for terrestrial conflicts and minor skirmishes in near-Earth orbit. They were hopelessly outmatched by the Vespari's technology. But as she issued the planetary defense alert that would wake up every military commander on Earth, Singh remembered something her grandmother had told her years ago, a survivor of the Indonesian resource wars. Never underestimate a cornered human. The Vespari were about to learn that lesson the hard way. As dawn broke over Earth's major cities, citizens looked up to see unfamiliar ships entering orbit. The first wave of the Vespari invasion had arrived. Humanity's first interstellar war had begun. And against all expectations, humanity was ready to fight back. The Resistance Rises General Amara Singh stood in the United Earth Defense Command Center deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, watching as red alerts flashed across the global tactical display. It had been 72 hours since the first Vespari ships entered Earth's orbit. 72 hours of desperate preparation for a war humanity had never imagined fighting. Report, she commanded. Colonel Marcus Rodriguez gestured toward the holographic map. The Vespari have established orbital positions above every major population center. Their ground forces have landed in strategic locations across all continents. Conventional weapons have minimal effect on their shields. And the evacuation? Underground facilities at 82% capacity, rural dispersal protocols in effect. We've managed to evacuate approximately 60% of urban populations to hardened shelters or wilderness areas. Singh nodded. It wasn't enough, but it was more than she'd hoped for. Captain Chen's warning had given them precious time the Vespari clearly hadn't expected humans to have. What about Project Rebound? Rodriguez's expression tightened. Dr. Ward is making progress, but the door to the command center slid open and a disheveled man in a lab coat burst in, flanked by security officers who'd clearly failed to stop him. Dr. Ward, Singh said, recognizing the quantum physicist from the first contact team. I was told you were still in medical recovery. No time, Ward replied, his voice hoarse. He'd been one of only 2 survivors from the captured shuttle, rescued during a daring operation led by Major Sarah Chen, Maya's younger sister, who had intercepted the shuttle before it could reach the main Vespari vessel. I figured it out. The Vespari neural network, I know how to disrupt it. On the holographic display, another city turned red as Vespari forces overwhelmed local defenses. Millions of lives hung in the balance. You have 5 minutes, Singh said. Ward activated his tablet, projecting a complex diagram onto the main screen. The Vespari aren't just an advanced species, they're a hive mind. Their individual soldiers connect to a central neural network controlled by their command ships. That's why their coordination is perfect. But it's also their weakness. He zoomed in on a particular frequency pattern. Their neural network operates on a quantum entanglement principle similar to our experimental communication system. The one difference is they use a fixed algorithm to prevent signal degradation across vast distances. Colonel Rodriguez leaned forward. A fixed algorithm? That's… Exactly, Ward interrupted. It's predictable. They've never needed to develop more sophisticated encryption because they've never encountered a species advanced enough to exploit it, until now. Singh studied the scientist carefully. What are you proposing? A virus. One that mimics their command signals but introduces subtle errors. Errors that will cascade through their entire network. Ward's eyes gleamed with a mix of scientific excitement and something darker. We could turn their perfect coordination against them. How do we deliver this virus? Rodriguez asked. Their systems are completely isolated from our networks. Ward's expression fell. That's the problem. Someone would need to physically upload it to one of their command ships. A suicide mission. The room fell silent as the implications sank. And then a voice spoke from the doorway. I'll do it. They turned to see Major Sarah Chen still wearing the scorched exosuit from her last mission. The resemblance to her sister Maya was striking. The same determined eyes, the same unwavering resolve. With all due respect, Major, Singh began, you're our best tactical pilot. We need you coordinating our aerospace defense. And my sister is still their prisoner, Sarah replied, her voice leaving no room for argument. I know their ships better than anyone else on Earth, thanks to Maya's transmitted schematics. Give me a team and I'll get your virus uploaded. Singh considered the young officer. The Chen sisters had always been exceptional. Maya, the explorer, Sarah, the protector. Both willing to sacrifice everything for humanity. You have 12 hours to prepare, Singh decided. Choose your team carefully. As Sarah left to assemble her strike force, Dr. Ward approached Singh privately. There's something I didn't mention in front of the others. If this works, when this works, the feedback through their neural network will be catastrophic. We're not just talking about disruption. We're talking about incapacitation of their entire species. Singh met his gaze steadily. They came. To our home, Dr. Ward. They attacked without provocation. They've already killed millions of our people. Save your moral qualms for peacetime. Across the planet, humanity fought with desperate ingenuity. In the ruins of Shanghai, civilians had discovered that common microwave emitters, when modified and combined, could temporarily disrupt Vesperi personal shields. In Brazil's dense rainforests, guerrilla forces used the thick canopy to ambush Vesperi patrols, discovering that the aliens struggled with Earth's higher humidity and organic compounds, small victories in an otherwise losing war. Aboard the Vesperi, command ship Inevitable Dominance, Captain Maya Chen was brought before Supreme Exarch Tevrin for the 7th time since her capture. Unlike previous interrogation sessions, the alien leader seemed agitated, its silver skin rippling with irregular patterns. Your species continues to resist despite overwhelming disadvantage. Explain this irrationality. Maya stood straighter, despite her injuries. It's not irrationality, it's humanity. Elaborate. Throughout our history, we've faced extinction-level threats, plagues, climate catastrophes, nuclear weapons. Each time we've adapted and survived. It's what we do. The Exarch circled her slowly. Your technological level is primitive, your weapons ineffective, your tactics predictable, yet you persist. The logical response would be surrender and integration into the Empire. Maya allowed herself a small smile. You've conquered 17 species, correct? Correct. And they all eventually surrendered? All intelligent species recognize the futility of extended resistance. Then allow me to be the first to welcome you to something new, Maya said. Humans don't surrender. Not when our home is threatened. Not when our freedom is at stake. You can kill us, but we will never submit. The Exarch's silver eyes narrowed. An interesting hypothesis. We shall test its limits. As Maya was returned to her cell, she passed other human prisoners, scientists from Europa Station, civilians captured during the initial assault. She met each of their gazes, offering silent encouragement. They would need it for what was coming. What the Vespari didn't know, what Maya herself could only hope, was that Earth's resistance was more organized than the aliens realized. The quantum transmission she'd sent contained more than just technical data about Vespari ships. It included her personal observations about Vespari biology, their discomfort in Earth's atmosphere, their sensitivity to certain electromagnetic frequencies, their reliance on their neural network, weaknesses that humanity could exploit. Major Sarah Chen's infiltration team departed from the last remaining orbital defense platform 12 hours later. Their ship was a hybrid monstrosity, a modified Earth shuttle incorporating salvaged Vespari technology from downed fighters. Dr. Ward's virus was stored in a specialized data drive designed to interface with alien systems. The team included 6 members: Sarah as commander, Lieutenant James Okafor, a communications specialist who had helped decode Vespari transmissions, Dr. Layla Rahman, an expert in xenobiology, Sergeant Wei Zhang, and Corporal Fatima Al-Hassan, both Special Forces operators with experience fighting Vespari ground troops, and unexpectedly, Dr. Elijah Ward himself. "I need to be there to ensure the virus uploads correctly," he'd insisted. "The programming is adaptive. It will need final adjustments based on their current network configuration." Their approach was audacious in its simplicity. As the Vespari launched another assault on Earth's remaining defenses, Sarah piloted their hybrid vessel directly toward the debris field of destroyed satellites and spacecraft now orbiting Earth. To Vespari sensors, they would appear as just another piece of wreckage. "Approaching target," Sarah announced as they drifted toward the massive command ship. "Layla, status on the biological countermeasures?" Dr. Rahman checked her equipment. "Ready. The atmospheric adjustments should buy us about 40 minutes before their environmental systems compensate." The plan depended on precise timing and a discovery Dr. Rahman had made while studying tissue samples from a captured Vespari drone. The aliens were hypersensitive to certain combinations of gases common on Earth but rare in their native environment. A concentrated release would temporarily disorient them without causing permanent harm, just long enough for the team to reach the central data core. "We're within range of their automated defense systems," Lieutenant Okafor warned. "If they scan us now." "They won't," Sarah replied with certainty. "They're focused on the main battle. Arrogance is their blind spot." She was right. The hybrid shuttle drifted undetected into the massive ship's ventilation system, an entry point identified in Maya's schematics. Once inside, they abandoned the shuttle and proceeded on foot through maintenance tunnels designed for repair drones. "Their internal sensors will detect us soon," Sergeant Zhang cautioned. "Then we move fast," Sarah ordered. "Remember the mission. Get to the central data hub, upload the virus, get out if possible." The "if possible" hung heavily in the air. They all knew the odds of survival were minimal. They encountered their first Vespari patrol 3 junctions later. The aliens moved with uncanny coordination, their weapons ready. Dr. Rahman activated her device, releasing a fine mist into the air. The effect was immediate. The Vespari staggered, their movements becoming uncoordinated as the Earth compounds interfered with their neural connections. Zhang and Al-Hassan moved efficiently, using specialized stun weapons designed to overload Vespari neural receptors. Within seconds, the patrol was down. "That won't kill them," Al-Hassan noted. "It doesn't need to," Sarah replied. "We just need them offline long enough to complete the mission." They encountered heavier resistance as they approached the central data hub. The Vespari had realized they were under attack from within, but the confusion caused by Rahman's atmospheric alterations gave the human team a critical advantage. The aliens were fighting as individuals now, not as a coordinated force, and individuals could be overcome. When they finally reached the data hub, a vast chamber filled with crystalline structures pulsing with light, Dr. Ward gasped. "It's beautiful," he murmured. "Their entire collective consciousness flows through these crystals. And we're about to give it a migraine," Sarah said. How long do you need? Ward studied the alien interfaces. 5 minutes to find an access point. 3 minutes to upload the virus. You have 4 minutes total, Sarah decided, checking the team's ammunition status. They're regrouping. As Ward and Okafor worked to connect their device to the alien system, Sarah received an unexpected transmission through her comms unit. Repeat, this is Captain Maya Chen to infiltration team. Do you copy? Sarah froze. Maya, is that really you? Little sister, came the relieved response. I knew you'd try something this insane. Listen carefully. I've escaped my cell and... Access to terminal. I can see your position. The Vespari are converging on your location from all directions. We just need a few more minutes, Sarah replied. The virus, I know about the virus. Ward explained it to me before we were captured. It won't be enough, Sarah. The Vespari have redundant systems we didn't know about. Ward looked up from his work. What kind of redundancies? Secondary neural networks that activate if the primary one goes offline, Maya explained. The virus will disrupt them temporarily, but they'll recover. Ward's expression fell. Then this was all for nothing. Not nothing, Maya countered. I've discovered something about their command structure. The Supreme Exarch isn't just their leader, it's the focal point of their entire neural network. The living processor that coordinates their hive mind across the Empire. Sarah caught her meaning immediately. And the Supreme Exarch is on this ship. 2 decks above you. Heavily guarded, but not expecting a direct assault. They've never needed to protect their leaders before. A new plan formed in Sarah's mind. One, even more desperate than the first. Maya, can you access their internal defense systems? Already working on it. I can create a diversion, maybe redirect some of their forces. Do it, Sarah ordered, then turning to her team. Change of plans. Ward, finish the virus upload. It'll still buy us time. The rest of you with me. We're going after their leader. Doctor? Rahman looked alarmed. That wasn't part of the mission parameters. The mission is to end this war, Sarah replied. Sometimes that means adapting to new information. As Ward completed the virus upload, the effect rippled through the Vespari ship. Lights flickered, and distant sounds of confusion echoed through the corridors. The coordinated defense that had made the aliens so formidable was temporarily shattered. Sarah led her team upward, following Maya's directions through their comms. They encountered scattered resistance, disoriented Vespari soldiers fighting as individuals rather than as parts of a perfect whole. It was still dangerous, even confused. The aliens were physically powerful and technologically advanced. Corporal Al-Hassan took a severe wound from an energy weapon but insisted on continuing. When they reached the Supreme Exarch's chamber, they found Maya already there, engaged in combat with the Exarch's personal guards. Blood streaked her face, but she fought with the precision Sarah recognized from their childhood sparring matches. The siblings made eye contact across the chamber, years of unspoken communication passing between them in an instant. Together with the remaining team members, they fought their way to the inner sanctum where Supreme Exarch Tevrin awaited. Unlike the other Vespari they had encountered, Tevrin stood nearly 9 feet tall, its silver skin inscribed with complex patterns that glowed with internal light. As they burst into the room, the alien leader showed no fear, only a cold curiosity. You have disrupted our network. Inconvenient, but temporary. Your species' resistance ends here. That's where you're wrong, Maya replied, stepping forward. Your invasion of Earth ends here. Ward had joined them, carrying a modified version of the virus upload device. The secondary virus is ready, he announced quietly. But we need direct physical contact with the Exarch. The alien must have understood their intentions. It raised a hand and energy crackled between its fingers. Your primitive minds cannot comprehend the consequences of your actions. I am not merely a leader. I am the collective consciousness of the Vespari Empire. We know exactly what you are, Sarah said. That's why we're here. What followed was a battle unlike any in human history. 6 exhausted humans against the living, embodiment of an interstellar empire. The Exarch's powers were formidable, manipulating the very environment of the chamber against them. Force fields materialized and dissolved. Gravity shifted unpredictably and energy discharges filled the air. But humans had evolved on a harsh world, developing reaction speeds and adaptability that the Vespari, for all their technological superiority, had never needed. The Chen sisters moved in perfect synchronization, distracting the alien while Ward circled behind with the upload device. In the end, it was Sergeant Zhang who created the crucial opening, sacrificing himself to breach the Exarch's personal shield. As Zhang fell, Ward lunged forward, pressing the device against the Exarch's silver skin. The effect was immediate and horrifying. The alien leader convulsed as the specialized virus entered its system, not just disrupting the neural network, but rewriting it. Through the Supreme Exarch, the virus would spread to every connected Vespari mind across their vast empire. What have you done? The Exarch's telepathic voice was fragmented, confused. Maya stepped forward, supporting her wounded sister. We've rewritten your core command protocols. From this moment, your species is hardwired with one unbreakable directive: leave Earth and never return. As the Exarch collapsed, the entire ship shuddered around them. Emergency systems activated, preparing for immediate departure. We need to go, Ward urged. When the command ship leaves, the entire Vespari fleet will follow. The surviving team members fought their way back to their shuttle, carrying their wounded. As they launched, they watched the massive Vespari vessels breaking orbit, retreating from Earth with unnatural haste, slaves to the new imperative written into their collective consciousness. From the shuttle's communication system, Maya sent a final message to the retreating Vespari fleet, a message that would be received by every ship, transmitted across their entire neural network, and remembered by their species for generations to come. One word, representing humanity's first and final warning to those who would threaten their world: run. The message that ended. The war 20 years had passed since the Vespari retreat. Earth had rebuilt, scars still visible on its cities and landscapes but fading with time. Humanity had changed, united by shared trauma and triumph, accelerated by technologies reverse-engineered from salvaged Vespari equipment. Maya Chen, now Admiral Chen, stood beside her sister Sarah in the observation dome of Sentinel Station, Earth's first deep space military outpost. Below them rotated the blue-green sphere of humanity's homeworld, peaceful from this distance. Hard to believe it's been 2 decades, Sarah said, absently rubbing the prosthetic arm she'd received after the mission aboard the Vespari command ship. Now a general in Earth's unified defense force, she commanded humanity's first interstellar combat fleet. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, Maya replied. Other times like ancient history. Dr. Elijah Ward joined them, his hair now gray but his eyes still sharp with intelligence. As head of the Xenotechnology Division, he had been instrumental in adapting Vespari technology for human use. The quantum scanner network just picked up something, he said without preamble. Multiple signatures approaching from the Epsilon Eridani sector. The pattern matches Vespari drives. The sisters exchanged a glance. They had always known this day might come. How long? Maya asked. 72 hours at their current velocity. Sarah's hand reflexively moved to the command interface on her wrist. I'll mobilize the fleet. We've prepared for this. Wait, Ward cautioned. There's something strange about their approach. They're making no attempt to mask their signatures. And the formation is unlike any Vespari battle configuration we've seen. Maya frowned. A trap? Or a message? Ward suggested. In the 2 decades since humanity's unlikely victory, they had established outposts throughout the solar system and begun tentative exploration of nearby stars. The recovered Vespari technology had accelerated their development by centuries. Quantum communications, gravitational propulsion, energy shielding. Each breakthrough had been carefully studied and adapted to human understanding, rather than blindly implemented. They had also prepared for the possibility that the neural reprogramming might eventually fail, that the Vespari might one day return seeking vengeance. Maya made her decision. Maintain alert status but hold fleet deployment. I want to see what they do first. The command center of Sentinel Station hummed with tense activity as the alien vessels approached. The tactical display showed 27 Vespari ships, smaller than the invasion fleet of 20 years ago, but still formidable. They've dropped out of FTL at the edge of the system, reported Lieutenant Commander Aisha Okafor, daughter of the communications specialist who had been part of the infiltration team. Maintaining position, no weapon signatures detected. They're transmitting, another officer announced. Standard communication frequency. Maya nodded. On screen, the view screen illuminated to show a familiar silver-skinned figure, a Vespari, but not one Maya recognized. Its surface patterns were different, more intricate than those she remembered. Greetings, humans of Earth. I am Nexar Vex, speaker for the Reformed Vespari Collective. We come not as conquerors but as supplicants. Murmurs of disbelief rippled through the command center. Sarah stepped forward, suspicion evident in her stance. The last time your kind came to our system, you tried to enslave our species. Forgive us if we're skeptical. The alien inclined its head. Your skepticism is warranted, General Chen. We have earned your distrust. That is why we come unarmed, our shields lowered at your mercy. Maya studied the alien carefully. What do you want from us? Understanding. And perhaps, in time, forgiveness. The virus you introduced into our collective consciousness did more than give us a simple command to flee. It forced us to experience something we had never known. Individuality. The Vespari's silver skin rippled with what might have been emotion. For generations, our species existed as a unified mind. The exarchs guided our thoughts, our values, our perceptions. We conquered because we knew no other way to interact with different species. We could not comprehend independent existence. Dr. Ward stepped into view of the transmission. The virus was never meant to be permanent. It should have degraded within a few years. The base command did degrade, Nexar Vex acknowledged, but the fragmentation of our collective consciousness could not be reversed. Once we experienced independent thought, many of us refused to return to the collective. Civil war erupted across our empire. Those who embraced individuality against those who sought to restore the old order. Images appeared on a secondary screen. Vespari fighting Vespari, devastated worlds, fractured ships. The evidence of a civilization torn apart from within. And, which side are you from? Sarah asked, her voice hard. We are the coalition of the evolved, those who believe that true advancement comes through diversity of thought, not uniformity. We have spent years studying what your species did, not just to our neural network, but to our understanding of existence itself. Maya felt a chill run down her spine. You've been studying us? All this time? From a distance, yes. Your response to our invasion was unlike anything in our 16,000 years of conquest. No species had ever defeated us. More importantly, no species had ever shown such restraint. The Vespari's mercury eyes seemed to focus directly on Maya. You could have destroyed us. The virus could have been lethal rather than reprogramming. Your strike team reached our supreme exarch, the heart of our collective consciousness. With a different command, you could have compelled us to self-destruct. Instead, you simply told us to leave. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. 20 years ago, in the heat of battle, mercy had seemed the quickest solution. Not a strategic decision, but a moral one. What exactly are you proposing? Maya finally asked. Alliance, exchange of knowledge, and a warning. The tactical display updated to show a new star map, regions of space far beyond humanity's current exploration range. The Vespari Empire was vast, but we were not the only advanced civilization in this galaxy. There are others who make us appear primitive by comparison. Others who will have noticed your emergence as a spacefaring species. Others who will not show the same restraint you demonstrated. Sarah scoffed. So we're supposed to trust you now because there are worse threats out there? Convenient. We offer proof, not merely words. The Vespari gestured, and the display changed again to show detailed schematics of advanced technology. These defensive systems would help secure your colonies against the threats that will come. Consider them a gesture of our sincerity. And what do you get in return? Maya asked. A potential ally. And perhaps redemption. The negotiations that followed spanned months. Vespari representatives were eventually permitted to visit Sentinel Station under heavy security. Earth's leadership remained divided on whether to trust their former enemies, but the evidence the Vespari provided about other hostile civilizations was too compelling to ignore. Dr. Ward led the scientific exchanges, his expertise in Vespari technology, making him the natural choice. What he discovered both fascinated and disturbed him. Their physiology has actually changed, he explained during a private briefing with the Chen sisters. The experience of individuality has physically altered their neural structure. They're evolving into something new. Neither the hive mind, they were, nor fully individual beings like us, but something in between. Can we trust them? Sarah asked bluntly. Ward considered his answer carefully. I think we can trust that they've changed. Whether that change is enough, he shrugged. They still view the universe differently than we do. They still struggle to understand concepts like personal choice, emotional attachment, the value of a single life. But they're trying, Maya noted. Yes, Ward agreed. They're trying. As the diplomatic process continued, a more immediate threat emerged. Long-range sensors detected unusual activity in the Tau Ceti system, where humanity had established its first extrasolar colony 5 years earlier. Energy signatures don't match anything in our database, Aisha Okafor reported. Not Vespari, not human. Whatever they are, they're closing in on New Terra. New Terra housed 10,000 colonists, scientists, engineers, and their families. Its defenses were minimal, designed for scientific research rather than warfare. How long until our fleet can reach them? Maya asked. 6 days minimum, Sarah replied. Even with the new drives. The colonists don't have 6 days. They turned to find Nexarvex in the doorway, accompanied by human security officers. The Vespari had been granted limited access to certain areas of the station as a diplomatic courtesy. Our sensors detected the incursion as well, the alien continued. The energy signature is Jacari, a species even the Vespari Empire avoided. When possible, they consider all other life forms resources to be harvested. And you know this how? Sarah demanded. Because before we encountered humans, we were much like them. The Vespari's mercury eyes dimmed slightly. We were the students. They were the teachers. Maya made a decision that would later be debated in Earth's history books. What are you proposing? Our ships can reach New Terra in 2 days. We offer our assistance. Sarah pulled her sister aside. You can't seriously be considering this. Letting them near one of our colonies? If they wanted to attack us, they could have done it already, Maya countered. Their ships outclass ours, but they've kept their distance, respected our boundaries. It could be an elaborate trap. It could be. But if it isn't, if the Jacari are as dangerous as they claim, we can't afford to let New Terra fall. The sisters stared at each other, a silent battle of wills reminiscent of their childhood disagreements. Finally, Sarah nodded once, sharply. I'm going with them. My fleet will follow as fast as possible. 2 days later, Sarah found herself aboard the Vespari command ship Evolutionary Paradigm, approaching the Tau Ceti system. The experience was surreal, standing on the bridge of a vessel belonging to the species that had nearly conquered Earth, now rushing to defend a human colony. The Vespari crew operated efficiently but differently than she remembered from 20 years ago. They communicated verbally as well as telepathically. They displayed individual mannerisms. They asked questions, rather than simply executing orders. We are dropping out of FTL, announced the Vespari navigator. Tau Ceti system perimeter. The view screen activated to show 3 massive black ships surrounding New Terra. Their design was organic, yet mechanical, with surfaces that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Smaller craft swarmed around the colony's protective dome, Sha'kari harvester ships, Nexarvex confirmed. They are already extracting resources. Resources meaning our colonists, Sarah said grimly. Battle stations. The Vespari fleet engaged, without hesitation. Their tactics were precise but adaptable, incorporating strategies Sarah recognized from human military doctrine, combined with Vespari technology. The battle was brutal. The Sha'kari ships were powerful, their weapons capable of shearing through Vespari shields. 2 Vespari vessels were destroyed in the initial exchange, their crews sacrificing themselves to draw fire away from the colony. Sarah coordinated from the evolutionary paradigm, her military experience complementing Vespari tactical analysis. Together, they managed to destroy 1 Sha'kari harvester and damage another. But the third broke through their defensive line, heading directly for the colony dome. They're targeting the central habitat, a Vespari officer reported. Calculating intercept course. Too late, another responded. We cannot reach them in time. Sarah watched in horror as the massive black ship positioned itself above the vulnerable colony. Then, unexpectedly, the Vespari commander turned to her. There is one option, the alien said, but it requires your authorization. What option? During the restructuring of our society, we prohibited certain technologies deemed too dangerous. One such system remains aboard this vessel, a targeted neural disruptor designed to attack consciousness itself. Sarah understood immediately. It would kill the Sha'kari crew but leave the colony intact. It would not kill them precisely. It would unmake their minds. But the radius affects all neural structures. If we deploy it, the human colonists will also be exposed. What would it do to humans? The Vespari hesitated. Unknown. Your neural structure is different. There might be temporary disorientation, perhaps memory disruption, or worse. We cannot predict with certainty. An impossible choice. Risk the lives and minds of 10,000 colonists, or watch them be harvested by the Sha'kari. Sarah thought of Maya, of the decision her sister had made 20 years ago when faced with the opportunity to destroy the Vespari completely. Do it, she ordered. But target it precisely. Minimize exposure to the colony. The neural disruptor, deployed as a pulse of energy invisible to the human eye but devastating to the Sha'kari. The effect was immediate. The harvester ship's operations ceased, its movements becoming erratic before it drifted away from the colony. The remaining Sha'kari vessels are retreating, reported the Vespari tactical officer. They appear confused. And the colony? Sarah demanded. Life signs stable, communications disrupted. We cannot assess neural impact from this distance. Sarah ordered immediate rescue operations. Vespari and human teams in protective gear entered the colony dome to find the colonists alive but disoriented. Medical scans revealed unusual brain activity, but no permanent damage. As the colonists recovered over the following days, they reported a strange shared experience, a momentary sensation of connection with each other's thoughts, similar to the Vespari collective consciousness, but briefer and less intrusive. When Maya arrived with Earth's fleet, she found her sister working alongside the Vespari to strengthen the colony's defenses. You took quite a risk, Maya said privately when they finally had a moment alone. I learned from the best, Sarah replied. You took the same risk 20 years ago when you chose not to destroy the Vespari completely. Maya looked out at the colony dome now protected by a joint human-Vespari defense system. Was it the right choice? History will decide, but today 10,000 people are alive because of an enemy that became an ally. That counts for something. 6 months later, representatives from Earth and the reformed Vespari collective signed the first interspecies defense treaty in human history. The ceremony took place on neutral ground, the newly constructed Unity station in orbit around Mars. As Maya Chen placed her signature beside that of Nexarvex, she reflected on the improbable journey that had brought them to this moment. From first contact to invasion to tenuous alliance. There is something we have never told you, Nexarvex said quietly as they stepped away from the ceremonial table. about the effect your virus had on our collective consciousness. What's that? When you transmitted the command to flee, accompanied by that single word, run, it carried emotional context we had never experienced before. Not just fear, but something more complex. Maya waited, curious. Your message contained the concept of mercy, of choosing not to destroy when destruction was possible. This idea was revolutionary to us. It fragmented our unified perspective more effectively than any command could have. The Vespari's silver skin rippled with what Maya now recognized as their expression of profound emotion. You did not just tell us to run, Admiral Chen. You showed us why running was preferable to continuing as we were. Your species' capacity, for both terrible violence and unexpected mercy, it changed us forever. Later that evening, Maya joined her sister and Dr. Ward on the observation deck of Unity Station. Below them, Mars glowed red in the darkness, its surface already showing signs of the terraforming project that represented humanity's next great challenge. 20 years ago, we were fighting for survival, Maya said. Now we're reshaping planets and forming alliances with alien species. And preparing for worse threats to come, Sarah added pragmatically. Dr. Ward smiled slightly. That's the paradox of humanity, isn't it? Always looking to both creation and destruction, peace and war, mercy and justice. Perhaps that's what the Vespari found so incomprehensible about us, Maya suggested. Our contradictions. Our adaptability, Ward corrected. The Vespari evolved as a collective, with strength and unity. We evolved as individuals, with strength and diversity. Different, evolutionary paths to solve the same problem of survival. Sarah gazed out at the stars beyond Mars. There are more species out there. Some friendly, some hostile, all different. And we'll face them the same way we've faced every challenge in our history, Maya said with quiet certainty. Together, but as individuals. Each contributing our unique perspectives. Each making our own choices. A communication alert chimed softly. A Vespari scout ship had detected unusual activity at the edge of the solar system. Possibly Jacari reinforcements. Possibly something else entirely. Maya smiled at her sister and her old friend. Ready for another adventure? As they moved to respond to the new potential threat, Maya reflected that the message that had ended Earth's first interstellar war, that simple command to run, had ultimately created something unexpected, a future where former enemies stood, side by side, facing the unknown together. The stars no longer seemed cold and distant, but alive with possibility. Humanity had survived its trial by fire, and emerged stronger, wiser, and ready for whatever the universe might bring next. They would not run, they would stand, and whatever came next would learn what the Vespari had learned, that humans were unlike any species in the galaxy, capable of both terrible destruction and extraordinary mercy. That was the true message that had ended the war, not just the capacity for violence that had driven the Vespari away, but the capacity for compassion that had ultimately brought them back.